I didn't really grow up in the church. My family, we'd intermittently go to church, especially on the holidays, Easter, Christmas. So I definitely didn't have a relationship with Jesus. I didn't really know him. And then middle school years came around. My parents went through a divorce and kind of started gradually moving down the socioeconomic ladder, just moving to progressively smaller homes, all the way to the point at the end of high school, my mom actually lost her home. And then all throughout that, my dad had kind of just fallen off the map. So he had kind of just disappeared and abandoned us for a few years. And without acknowledging or being willing to acknowledge that at the time, I just got filled up with a lot of negative emotions. I pushed God out of my life. I wasn't going to church. I didn't want anything to do with him. I wanted to convince myself that I could just live life on my own. I was just burying a lot of feelings of abandonment and worthlessness. And I carried a lot of those feelings into college. Was drinking, was drugging, having ungodly relationships and measuring my self-worth by how other people around me viewed me. Eventually, I made the decision to move down to New Orleans to do a master's program at Tulane. My thinking was that this would be a great place to study and work hard during the week and then party hard on the weekend. And that's pretty much how my master's in pharmacology went. I was studying and reading up on drugs during the week, and then I was doing them on the weekend. So then I started medical school the following year, and as I started meeting new people and interacting with people, I started building relationships and friendships with people that had grown up in the church, that were regularly going to church. And I immediately noted that they just carried themselves differently. They lived life differently. And it wasn't just the fact that they wouldn't partake in certain activities. They treated other people differently. And they drew strength and joy from a source that was completely unknown to me. That started making me ask questions about myself, like, why do I desire to be a good person and do good things, but then just have these lapses in judgment? And I, often would just cry myself to sleep at night, just asking, how could God ever love me? Why am I such a bad person, or why have I been such a bad person? But, gradually I started listening to more messages, and eventually I came across the decision to find my own church. So after bouncing around a couple of churches around the city, I came across One Hope and was just immediately captivated by the smiles, the joy, and just the energy that people had in the church. And didn't take long for me to just feel like, man, this is like where I'm supposed to be. This is where I belong right now. So I continued on my spiritual journey and started surrounding myself with godly people and started cracking open my Bible. And as I learned more about him, I realized that he loved someone like me because he said he would. And that despite me being faithless and being riddled with sin, he stayed true to his word. And that whole time he had been walking me through that, just guiding me, waiting for me to open up to him and gradually softening my heart. And he was just waiting there with open arms to just shower me with all the love that he has for me. God took me from a place of feeling abandoned and worthless and hopeless to a place where I know I'm valued and I have strengths, and that I can help others heal and use my own story to help them find the joy and happiness that Jesus has given me. And that there's freedom in knowing how much he loves me, that no matter what, he's there for me and I can fall back on him, and that there's no soul that can't be saved.